Sharkie Gamer here. Welcome to episode 7 of Prototypes and Unreleased Controllers. So in today's episode we're taking a look at the Workboy, a keyboard accessory for your Game Boy system. Now this was made and designed by Fabtech. The software was actually developed by Source R&D Limited. Now the Workboy consisted of a stand that held your Game Boy upright on a desk or surface, as well as a keyboard that plugged into the side of your Game Boy, basically converting your Game Boy into a personal electronic organizer. Now we have several magazine articles that cover the Workboy and its features. So let's first take a look at a 3-page article from Game Zone magazine. This article is from the April 1992 issue of the magazine. Let's take a look. So this is the first page, and you can see it's got a cool image of the keyboard part of the Workboy. And as you can also see, it is quite a lengthy article, so I'm just going to summarize what they say here. The writer basically says that he went to CES in Las Vegas and saw a lot of Nintendo related items and games. But one thing really stood out because it was so unusual. That thing of course was the Workboy, made by Fabtech. Now they had a Workboy actually on display, so this guy got to see an actual prototype unit. He also spoke to Fabtech about the device. Now this is page 2. As you can see, it shows some of the Workboy features, but we'll get more into that in a moment. Now this is the third and last page from the Game Zone article. Continuing on from page 1, Fabtech took this guy to speak to the developer of the software, Source R&D Limited. He asked them when it would be available, and they said around June for $79 in the US. A UK release with similar pricing would soon follow. Now $79 was the same price as the actual Game Boy system itself at that time. The writer also asked what they were planning for the future of the Workboy, and Source said that they were already planning a Workboy 2, which would have an actual word processor. They had also been contacted by game developers that wanted to make text-based games that utilized the keyboard. Source's own production manager said that he wanted to make a game design utility that also incorporated a sprite designer. This page also includes some cool photos of the actual Workboy unit prototype. So let's take a look at the hardware. The Game Boy was connected to the stand that allowed it to sit upright while it was on a desk or some type of surface, while the keyboard sat in front of it. The keyboard had a short cable that plugged into the side of the Game Boy. The keyboard itself was pretty basic. It had a QWERTY key layout, as well as a shift key to access numbers and some symbols. There were also arrow keys that acted like your cursor for navigation in the software. Here is a better look at the keys themselves. You can clearly see the letters, numbers, shift, space and arrow keys, as well as the row of keys up the top that allows you quick access to software functions. When you were done using the Workboy, the keyboard could be clipped into the back of the stand. This way you could easily put it away or even play games. The Game Boy would just be a little fatter than normal. Now briefly, I showed the second page of the Game Zone article that had some of the software features, but there's actually another article from a magazine that shows the features a lot better and clearer. Now I'm not sure what magazine this was from, but it has a detailed look at the software. So this page shows the Workboy and clearly outlines the 12 features of the software. So let's go into the software and features. Now firstly, up the top of the article it says, "Whoever said Game Boy doesn't have a practical side never used the Workboy from Fabtech. The software, keyboard and stand combined to convert Game Boys into micro workstations, with more than a dozen useful functions like a 5-language mini translator and 255-year appointment book. Clearly Fabtech is looking ahead. In the future, you'll be able to download database info directly from your computer to the Workboy's battery backed up memory." Local clock. Workboy keeps track of the time, showing a traditional clock and the date. The clock function also allows you to set an alarm or to reset the time. Daybook. Keep track of all your important appointments using the daybook function. Temperature. Hot or cold. Convert Fahrenheit temperatures into Celsius or vice versa. Control menu. Clear stored records or change your home city in the control menu. Calendar. Look ahead or back in time. What are you doing? Friday the 13th, January 1995. Exchange. Use the exchange conversion function to change your bucks into 6 other currencies. Records. Workboy's battery backup database will keep important facts and figures close at hand. Store addresses, notes, figures and facts, or your best Metro 2 tip. Measures. Since the rest of the world deals with metric measurements, it's good to know what they're talking about. Convert linear, liquid, and weight measures. Accounts. Keep track of your precious golden hoard by entering your current bank account balance. Travel. This feature is great for globe trotting. The map gives time and dialing code info for major cities. The translator has useful foreign words. Calculator. Keep your numbers accurate with the calculator. You have the 4 basic arithmetic functions plus percentages. Phone. The Workboy can auto-dial from a list of telephone numbers in the address book database. So as you can see, this thing was packed full of features that really did make your Game Boy into your personal organizer. So that was the Workboy, a keyboard, stand and software that allowed you to turn your Game Boy into your personal organizer. This was never released. So why was that? Well, at the time, it was going to be released for $79, the same price as the Game Boy system itself. Now before they got around to releasing the Workboy, the Game Boy system had a considerable price drop, which made the company rethink about releasing the Workboy. They couldn't drop the price of the Workboy, and they figured that if it was more expensive than the system itself, no one would buy it. So they cancelled it. So that is why the Workboy was cancelled. And it was a pretty unusual but practical accessory that never got released. I think it looks pretty cool, and for the time it would have been a pretty good idea. And it was another way that you could use your Game Boy other than just playing games. But how many people would have really bought it had this got released? I don't think there would have been many. There may have been like one here, but they probably wouldn't have got overwhelming sales. It is a pretty good idea though, and I think it would have been more for collectors down the track. Like, I would have really loved this for my collection. I think it's an awesome piece of Game Boy history, and it would be pretty cool to have the actual unit. So that was the Workboy, another cool accessory for Game Boy not released. Thanks for watching, guys. This was episode 7 of Prototypes and Unreleased Controllers. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll have heaps more gaming, controller and accessory videos up very soon. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you want to, and if you like this video, hit that like button. It really helps out a lot, guys. Thanks for watching.